Hi there, it's always an honor to have you. Welcome to Autism and Beyond. And if you're new here, this is yours truly, Dr. Nema Lema. So today we continue our series of what is the effect of screen on autism, developing brain and speech. And today we're going to talk about virtual autism. What exactly is virtual autism? First and foremost, we should all know that virtual autism is not a medical diagnosis. However, what virtual autism is just a descriptive term used to describe children who present with symptoms of autism-like, but really the cause of this symptom is not neurodevelopmental in origin, but in the virtual exposure of these kids' brain, the young brains. Okay? Remember in the previous video should be appearing here, we said that any child who's less than 2 years has no business with screen time because these kids' brain is not able to comprehend anything that is happening in the screen. Okay, because for you to be able to get that information, you have to have matured in terms of brain development to a certain extent before you're able to consume any type of content that is virtual. All right, so those kids were exposed to these screens very early on will present with symptoms of issues with communication. Sometimes they have delayed speech. Their social interactions will be not as expected based on age. They'll have very poor emotional regulation, so they'll be constantly irritable. Their senses, them integrating their senses, them integrating their coordination, their social skills, and of course their behaviors will all be affected. Why? Because for them, they've only known to interact with the screen and not with the person sitting next to them or interacting them in the real world. So that really has repercussion, and that's why we say any child less than 2, please, no screen. Just look for something else for these kids to do, but screen is not one of them. So how do you tell this is virtual autism and this is the real autism? So virtual autism comes from that history of, this child has been constantly on screen and now they have these symptoms. And whenever the strategies which we are going to be discussing in a short while are going to be employed, you're going to be able to see significant improvement to a point where you'll not even be able to know if this child was actually on the spectrum. And this, I'm sure you've heard of people who say, my child was diagnosed with autism, but after therapy, after stopping the screen, they are now normal. So that is possible, but the diagnosis was actually virtual autism. It's just that it's very difficult for you to be able to differentiate because as kids who are on the spectrum in this with virtual autism come to you as a doctor, the presentation is exactly the same. Okay, but now with the outcome, that's when you'll be able to know, okay, so this was virtual autism and this was actual autism that is neurodevelopmental in origin. Remember, the real autism is a lifelong condition. Yes, it gets better with time, no doubt about that. However, they'll always have issues with how they communicate socially, how they interact socially. So they are usually given ways to adopt, as opposed to a child who has virtual autism, they'll just be typical. Like they'll be a very typical adult or young adult later in life. All right? So that's how you can really tell the difference. So what do we do when we think, okay, my child is maybe 3 or 4 and there's a possibility that they actually have virtual autism? The first thing is, of course, go to your doctor whenever you think your child has those symptoms of autism. And how does autism present? I did a video, please go check it. The title is What is Autism? I'm also going to tag it on the comment section. Go ahead and watch it, and if you think you know of a child or maybe your own child fits that description, it's extremely important that you get to talk to your pediatrician and they will be able to advise you what the next step is. All right, so what strategies can you employ at home as you're battling between virtual autism and real autism? The first thing is zero screen. Again, I'm repeating this. A child who's less than 2 years has no business with screen. Please. Okay? And those who are 2-year-olds and 5, between 2 and 5, they can do up to 2 hours maximum. And whatever content, 2 hours maximum per day, and whatever content they are consuming, it has to be educational. So very intentional on what you want your child to learn from a particular session of screen time. And also it has to be interactive. So make sure that whatever content is age appropriate, and that this child will be able to know whatever they are saying on the screen, they'll be able to repeat. And we always advise co-viewing. Again, I did a video, please, how to change bad screen time to health screen time, and I'll also tag it on the comment section. Okay, if you have not watched it, I really highly recommend it. Okay, I bet it's gonna be worth your while. So that's the first thing: minimize screen and change to bad screen time to health screen time. Okay, the second thing is increase physical activities. Now, I know with modernization comes a lot of challenges, and what we are seeing right now, kids are play deficient. Yes, our kids do not play as much as we did. I am a millennial, and my God, we played and played very well. Like, it used to be you take breakfast, you disappear. Come home for lunch, you disappear. Come home to bath. I mean, that used to be the routine. These days, kids are indoors. And of course, part of it is purely based on where we live, because we also see a lot of vitamin D deficiency because of the same reason. Most of our estates have very high rises, very poor lighting, unfortunately, and almost negligible play areas for children. Because you find an estate that has like maybe 20 apartments in terms of flats, yeah, and they have less than maybe 50 by 100 left for play for children. But they have a whole like 3 underground floors for parking. It's a very sad reality. It's a very sad reality. So I really want to urge you as a parent, I don't know what position you're holding. If you're holding in a position where you're involved in the planning of all this, please speak for the children. Children need to play. And children who don't play it's going to be seen in their adult life. It has been proven, okay, in terms of how they interact socially, how they regulate their emotions, and how they are able to express themselves, and even interpersonal skills, even things like conflict resolution. These things are learned in play. Like, play is so wholesome, okay? So please, and if you're a parent, and if it's in your power to decide where you want to raise your family, please choose to raise a family in a place where there are other children and there is place for these kids to play. Okay? And be that parent who allows kids to go play. Set rules and standards. Of course, you're not allowed to go into people's houses because of the kind of world we live in today. But in those common areas, you can do supervised play. Like, let kids play as long as you know this child is there and they are playing. Allow your child to interact with other children. It will save you a lot. It will save you a lot. Alright? As long as that place is safe. Then the third thing is, especially now for children who are, for one reason or another, they live in a place where they are forced to be indoors. Because I know there are kids like, you live in the 15th floor, going downstairs is so risky, you are not allowed to, and it's understandable. I mean, no one would want to risk a child. So parents need to make it very intentional for these kids to have play dates, go visit amusement parks, for these kids to be able to play. Please. Of course, when they go to school, they'll be able to get part of that. But you can imagine a young child who's not school going yet. It becomes like those first 3-4 years, which are very critical, then they miss a lot. So if you have a child in that age bracket, make it very intentional for you to be able to go out and play, social gathering. And the fourth thing is create a nurturing environment at home. Now, I know the dynamics of family are very, very sensitive. They are very difficult sometimes. However, a wholesome child only needs one wholesome adult. No one is perfect. We are all going through this journey of life. But if you have children who needs to, to be nurtured, who needs to grow in their emotions, parents or, any type of caregivers, could be parents, could be nannies, could be grandparents, could be uncles, anyone who has the mandate of taking care of a child, please make it a point that you as a person are whole, so that you're able to spend time with your child and nurture them into wholesomeness. Now, this means different things for different people. However, a child needs one wholesome child for adult. It doesn't matter who they are. As long as they are wholesome and this child feels seen, loved, accepted, and blessed, this child will grow into a very beautiful adult. We always say, please bring up good human beings. And to bring up a good human being, you need a good human being. Okay? So I really want to challenge each one of us to make sure we work on ourselves to become whole, so that at the end of the day, we're able to bring up people and children and human beings who are whole. And these are the children we have to bring. Alright? So till then, bye-bye. It was a pleasure having you.